Hear ye, and welcome to the Royal Geek Podcast. I am your host, Tyler Rollison, also known as T-Roll, and tonight I am joined once again by my very good friends. First of all, we have Justin Sandoval, a.k.a. Sandy, and we also have Anthony Amato, who we like to call Shamato. Boys, back again here on the Royal Geek Podcast. We are talking some Mandalorian. Chapter 22.
This is the way.
This is the way, and this is our review of Guns for Hire.
Nice. I like that.
I feel like every season they have one episode that isn't titled The something, you know?
Yeah, they do.
So, so this is it.
This is it. This is the one.
Really interesting episode, which we will get into. But before we do, big thanks to everyone who's listening, everyone who's watching. We want to encourage you to please hit the subscribe button. Please follow along with us wherever you are listening, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. And please share the podcast with some of your friends. That helps us out a lot. Leaving a review helps us out tremendously. So please leave a positive, hopefully, review.
We'll see.
Of the podcast.
What is it? Any publicity is good publicity, right?
That's right. That's right. And, no, please don't leave a 1-star review. And what's the last? Oh, yeah, social media. Follow us on social media at Royal Geek Pod. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
All of them.
Yeah, all
Facebook.
of them. Just about all of them. Facebook, yeah, that's right. Not Snapchat yet. That'd be a little weird.
That would be very weird.
Yeah. All right, boys. Here's a spoiler warning for everyone who's here. Not that much happened in this episode. Just kidding. No, but for real. You know how, again, here's your spoiler warning. So here we go. You know how I always make a joke on the whole side mission thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
By far.
The most
side mission episode I've ever watched.
I agree.
So much so that it took on an entirely different form and genre.
The funny thing is that when the episode starts and then they veer, like when they're heading towards the bounty hunter camp, and then it sucks them in.
Yes.
I legitimately, verbally, out loud, like you, T-Roll, said, side mission, side mission.
I did it too.
Oh my gosh. It was like,
we
T-Roll,
need your
this
help.
is for you.
We need your help.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so overall, the episode for me, all right, I feel like the sliver of the beginning mattered, and then the very end mattered, but the whole in the middle, I mean, in the wise words of a friend of mine who is listening to this podcast right now, he described this episode in one word: lame. And I said, come on, bro, it wasn't fully lame. And he said, okay, 2 words: super lame.
Trevor?
No, it was not Trevor.
It's not Trevor?
No.
JD?
No, it was
okay.
it was Chuck. Shout out Chuck.
Shout out Chuck. That feels like something Trevor would say.
I feel like this episode was what they did is
lame?
they took 3 large cameos.
Huge
and they used
cameos.
it to gloss over the fact that it was largely just
About
a there
nothing.
episode.
Yeah.
It was just there. I mean, I would say there was only maybe one important part of that entire thing that they did, which was the fact that I feel like we're seeing this a lot. They're starting to dig deeper into, and it's becoming more okay for them to dig into, like, prequel lore. So they're dealing with someone who was a separatist and dealing with, clone, or not clones, but with droids being reintroduced. They even did it there's an episode of The Bad Batch where there's an entire droid army that is being recommissioned on a planet and being used as part of as a military. So it's interesting to see, like, they're starting to dig into it. It's starting to become okay to use the words, because it was a sore spot in a lot of, especially like the separatists and stuff like that. That kind of idea was kind of a sore spot in Star Wars lore, and we're seeing a lot of
Forgotten
that
past.
stuff. Yes, that stuff kind of like being okay to be brought back in. And same thing with we're seeing a lot of like Rebels references too.
Oh, a ton.
That were there's a lot of that kind of stuff that's leading up as well. But I think the 3 cameos were really just there to like kind of plaster over the holes that were kind of in this episode.
Yeah.
Yes. So everything that I praised Andor for, right? And I think I said this when we were reviewing Andor, and maybe even I said this early in the reviews of season 3 of Mando. Like, again, this is kind of what the Mandalorian series does. Like, you have really incredible episodes, and then you're like, you have like a whole episode where you're like,
What the
man, I wish I would have just not watched that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, and not that it's bad. It's never bad. It's never just awful.
Yeah.
You know, it's never just straight trash.
just-
It's not like
it's-
you're watching a DC movie. It's just that it just
guy.
doesn't feel.
It's a distraction from the storyline.
Yes.
that we're invested
going.
into. Yeah, yeah. So my biggest thing with this episode is after the episode finished, I was like, this is the only time that this is acceptable for an episode that doesn't matter, and it's the one before the penultimate. Because if you would have had this the penultimate episode, I would have been flipping tables. I would have been like looting local storefronts. Like it's that bad.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this is the last time you can have an episode like this.
Yeah.
And so if next week sucks too, geez,
No, it won't.
dude.
It shouldn't. I don't believe it will.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been, but at the very least, we know in the Mando, like storyline telling that when they do put these episodes in, they're never in the overall realm. They're usually not a hindrance to the overall storyline. So I'm at least not that deep into it because yes, they are big detours and like they're just kind of there.
Take you out of it,
but
man.
they do take you out of it, but it doesn't generally mess with the overall arcing storyline.
No,
So,
it doesn't. It's just it feels like Star Wars feels like it needs to be 8 episodes, right? Disney feels like it needs to be 8 episodes. But it really doesn't. It could have been 7. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of one of those things.
Right.
Like to some extent that's something, I mean, I guess most of the Marvel shows have been 6, but I just want to, like, when you own your own stream, I'm pointing at my TV, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I'm doing this. No, I'm not hailing Hitler right here. I'm just pointing at my TV, I promise. When you own your own, like, streaming company, or streaming service, like, you could do whatever you want. You can have 7-episode seasons.
Yeah.
You could have 9-episode seasons. It doesn't have to be 8. You're not locked in anything. So it's not like you're on you're on TNT or something like that. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So I think that's the
Just tell the story.
Which is
complete
interesting
the story.
Yeah.
because I feel like they've done a good job of not conforming to the minute limit. Like because
true, they
I
have.
feel like that's one thing that
Which sometimes I hate. You
that
go from
Star
like
Wars
a
has grasped.
55-minute to like
Yeah.
a 28-minute. You know?
Yeah, I feel like Star Wars has done a really good job of grasping that, you know what, we can just, whatever we want to tell the story in is how long this should be.
Yes.
You know, so I feel like they've done a good job about that, which is kind of weird that they've, I guess, it doesn't matter as much for them with a minute because that doesn't necessarily
Yeah.
affect their bottom line, whereas the number of episodes affects their bottom line.
Yeah,
Because
it affects their schedule.
Yeah.
And,
Yes, in their amount of views and things like that.
Yeah, but
The
Yeah.
funny thing is that we're gonna get the penultimate next week, and it's gonna be like 25 minutes long.
Yeah,
and it's gonna
probably.
be probably an epic episode.
do you
but
remember early
Yeah.
on, we would always be like, oh, yeah, this for Marvel and Star Wars, we'd be like, oh, yeah, this next episode, it's going to be like for sure like an hour and 10.
And it was never touched.
or it's
going
going to be like, I think in a good like 57, and it'd be like 37.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. One more thing about side missions. I think I would love, and I'll probably never do this because, as you guys know, I don't have like the time or discipline to just like watch a lot of stuff. Maybe you could though. If you ever do a complete rewatch of Mando from the whole series, Justin, I mean this, or you too, Amato.
That's 3 days for me.
Yeah, exactly. I want you to actually count the amount of times that Din Djarin has to deal with something that is not his problem.
Let's see. Probably 26
Like
episodes.
No, it's not that many. But there are a significant amount of side missions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like the turtle lovers that he had to help that one time. You remember that? The couple?
frogs
Yeah.
and the
Frog. Sorry.
yeah.
I didn't say frog.
It's like, oh, I won't tell you this because
Ooh, the spider cave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the
that was the same episode,
Oh, it
though.
was. Oh, yeah,
dragon.
yeah, yeah.
But that's fine. I'm not asking for a
Yeah.
number of
Right.
episodes. I'm asking for amount of problems.
That he,
Yeah.
he
That
has
he-
to solve that and has
Yes.
nothing to do with
Yes, him
the
or
mission.
the
Yeah,
storyline.
yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what I want to know.
That's great. That's great.
Okay. But let's discuss it.
Yes.
Even the Prison Break episode.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Exactly.
But that was enjoyable though. I love that episode.
Yes.
And sometimes they are.
But, but that's not the point of this exercise.
No, you're
no,
right. You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
I mean, I'd really be intrigued to know. But let's wait until the entire series is done. And
Yeah.
we'll go and do
We'll
that.
do that. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the cameos. Just get it out of the way. And I don't mean to say that super negatively, because if anything, if you want to have a bad episode, and this is definitely what they were thinking. This is again, as a professional wrestling fan, it is a proven strategy that nostalgic cameos or just surprise cameos. So nostalgia would be like, a past character or
Right,
something.
correct, yeah.
Or a surprise one, which is exactly what we got.
We got a surprise for
Three
sure.
of them, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
They are proven to work on us, on fans.
We are dumb
yeah.
suckers, dude.
Yes, we are. So let's talk about the cameos.
I know that face.
Yeah. The great thing is about this cameo is that like the door's open and he walks in. You hear the voice first.
I swear. I was like, that's not Jack Black.
Yeah, exactly. No, exact same thing. I was like, wait a minute, was that Jack Black?
I was like, can't be.
And then he gets closer and closer, and you see
And it-
he's rocking this new like beard recently in life, like
Yeah.
in general. Like if you follow him on social media or anything like that, he's rocking this crazy sporadic beard. Like it's wild.
And it's kind of like, I even was reasoning with myself. I'm like, it
That's not
kind of looks
Jack
like him, but
Yeah.
I really didn't believe it.
Sounded like him.
I really didn't believe it until we got extremely close.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy smokes, that's literally Jack Black.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, holy crap! How does Star Wars manage to hide these surprises? Like normally, if this was Marvel, you're getting leaks for
Yes.
months that so and so is going to be in Secret Invasion.
So you're waiting
like
for it.
You know exactly when it's like it's coming. I just got to wait for it, right? No, like earthly way that
No.
we know that Jack Black was going
tight
to be
ship,
in Star
man.
Wars. It's so tight. And then while I'm watching, I'm like, wait a minute. Is that Lizzo next to him?
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So
You're like, that can't be Lizzo.
yeah, we get Lizzo, who might have been like the #1 artist in 2022.
It legit
Like,
feels like you're on a Jimmy Fallon show.
Yeah.
Like they're both guests on the same show.
Yeah.
yeah, and the
You
crazy
know?
thing is that like she got way more lines than he did. Like she led the conversation anytime they were doing.
Yeah, she
anything.
was like legit royalty
Yeah,
in this
exactly,
world that
yeah.
they were on.
Yes.
And her and Grogu's interaction, I actually enjoyed. I enjoyed thoroughly. Like she held on to him for the entirety of the episode.
And until it seemed like there was a legit need, in which they explained.
Well, Mando leaves Grogu with her while he goes and
The amount of
yeah.
the amount of trust.
I know that's crazy that he did that to think about.
And again, it doesn't fit. That's why it doesn't it doesn't.
It's out of
feel
character
right.
for
It's
Mando.
out of character for Mando.
Yeah.
Even though
Because he literally spent 2 seasons of somebody trying to take Grogu, and then
Yes.
here he is just leaving it with some random
At some
royalty.
party?
Yeah.
Although he has these weird things where he has these moments where he makes these like from the hip judgments on people,
androids.
and he doesn't.
He was
it's not from
so
the hip.
anti-droid right here, man. It was
We'll get there.
That was his
Is
mind
Mando
for a long
racist?
time.
yes, he is.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
not all
he-
droids matter to him. That's for sure.
He'll just look at somebody and he'll make a decision on like whether he just deems them trustworthy, and he'll just leave Grogu with them.
Yeah.
Like it happens all the time.
He might have some sort of sixth sense though that picks up
Yeah.
the good people. I don't know.
Maybe.
But yeah, Jack Black and Lizzo,
so.
and then we get hit with another cameo, which I did not see coming. I heard it. You heard his voice first,
Yes.
and you're like, that sounds like Doc Brown. Like, what's going on here? And then
Christopher
Lloyd and his aged self.
Yes.
I was like, dude, this guy looks ancient. And then I thought to myself, like, he looked really old in Back to the Future, and that was like what 25 years ago, 30 years ago,
Which would
40
make sense
years
as a
ago? I don't know how
separatist,
long it was.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
really
By the
like
way,
that.
25 years ago it would have been like 1999.
Yeah, so it was 35 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I know.
And I didn't recognize that was him actually until the end of the episode. I don't know. Again,
You don't watch old movies. Yeah, we get you.
well, yes,
Mm-hmm.
but even I knew right away like who that was. Couldn't tell you his name, but
Yeah.
I was like, I knew who it was. But
Christopher Lloyd, I'll give him his respect. Okay. Anyway, moving on.
yeah. All right, moving on. But the cameos, I mean,
Yeah.
again, cameos do work. So it's like, here's what I'm trying to say. Hear me out here. If Disney would have put this filth out without awesome cameos, this podcast
Roast.
would feel so different. I swear, it would
Rage,
feel.
fierce
I
rage.
wish Markham was here as a true Star Wars fan, so I can so I can have some sort of like balance to like the way I feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like Yeah, thank God they had like cameos. I mean, if you put Jack Black in anything, I'm gonna be bought in.
I'm there
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
Somebody said when my buddy Chuck said lame, I said you better not be talking about Jack Black, and he said no, whatever Jack Black does is good. It's
gold, yeah.
But gosh, dude.
All right.
Well, I think we also just give a little bit of more leeway to the Mandalorian because it's season 3 and it's had
Good
it's had
track record.
2 very, very solid seasons, and they're working on a 3rd solid season.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of
Trust
track
process,
record, and
right?
we have trust. And like you said, it's not like it's the last episode or the penultimate episode. So there is a little bit of room for not super great
Yeah, but
TV.
but dude, I lost it. Like, okay, the whole it's obvious that they're doing like a cop episode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so obvious.
This is a buddy cop with
buddy
Bo-Katan
cop.
and
Yes.
Din Djarin. Yeah.
But I lost it when they go to the what do you-
Droid bar.
No, not the droid bar. That was good too.
The freight. The
No, what's where there's dead people? What's
morgue?
that? The morgue, and they pulled out
the
a
freaking
dead droid.
That's so
as
crazy.
if you're gonna have a droid in a body drawer.
No, you'd have that in a dumpster. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
It would have already been melted.
and then the best part is that little floating droid bot comes and draws blood, but it's like oil.
Yes.
Like that's just so ridiculous,
but
dude.
even the questions
Oh
and
my
the
gosh.
timing of the mortician is it mortician? Is that the
I think
Yeah. I mean, that would be the person who
whoever
would-
does
yeah.
autopsies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The timing and the things she's saying, and then what Din Djarin's saying and what Bo-Katan's saying, it literally was like
It was a procedural.
So was this episode a satire on cop drama? It
has to
I
be.
feel like, but the bar scene with the droids, I think, makes this solidifies
Yes.
it as yes because
multiple examples of it.
before they go in, she says, "Hey, let me handle things. I got it." That's like straight out of a cop show. Like,
Yeah.
And then they go in, they start talking, and he immediately pulls up something like, "Tell me all the answers, and I'll freaking like gut you," like that
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? And that's exactly what happened in the cop show.
Or
And-
or even the idea of them going into like a bar where like it'd be maybe like a rougher bar and everybody kind of stops when they come
they
in.
look. When
they did
like
that, oh
that's a
my
police procedural right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and again, I made the joke off the pod, but it felt like an episode of Community, right?
it did.
Where on
It did.
Community they do a couple like cop episodes,
do.
but every time they do it, it's like, man, they're just having fun, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're just having fun with Mando, you know,
Yeah.
which whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Which-
still watch it.
The chase scene was awesome. I love the chase scene.
And that's actually another thing, like
Yeah.
one of them veers off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, that's true. And then jump through a window and break and catch the
Yep.
catch the perp, right? But how about Mando selecting the perp? Like he's just kicking these droids like his
Yes.
racist self. Like it's
Yes.
just he's like
Yeah.
Dude, Mando is so racist, bro. It's not even like
it's
a debate.
It's bad.
Like legit, you're just kicking random robots
And the
until
droid's
one
like,
of them.
please stop. Like leave
Yeah,
him
that-
alone. Like
Yes.
we're reformed. Like we're
Yes.
we're just trying to
We're
work.
just
in
trying to live our
society.
life.
Oh my gosh. So I lost it when they went to the morgue. I was like, that's when I saw them pull out that dead droid, I was like, you've got to be freaking kidding
You got to keep his oil cold, or else his
Like, what was
rot.
that?
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
That makes no
man. I
sense.
wish Markham or Sweat was here. Like, I just
Listen,
would love to.
this was a bad episode. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
The fans. It may sound like we're like having fun and enjoying this, but it's so bad. It's good episode. That kind of thing.
So this is the episode that if I ever have a friend who comes over and watches all of, and this would never happen, but like they
Because
watch
he doesn't have friends, by the way. But anyway, continue.
that I would watch that they would watch the entire series of The Mandalorian like fresh and new, but I would be watching it with them. I would 100% want to be with them for this is like top 5. I have to be with them, and not because it's great,
yeah.
because I want to make sure that they've got some liquor in them, that they're drinking some beer,
Yeah.
and I want them to be relaxed, and then to watch this episode and just see how they react. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be a fun time for
It'd be
sure.
a fun time.
Gosh, man.
Okay, well then let's talk about the only thing. Hold on. Is there anything else in the cop scene?
Well, the finding out who the actual bad
Right.
person was, like Christopher Lloyd's character.
Yeah.
And
Separatist.
They confront him, and they're like, "The jig is up." Like they
Literally,
basically say,
yeah.
"The jig is up."
Yes.
Like,
The amount of like buddy cop
on
tropes
the
they
nose,
did.
on the nose, man.
Even like the standoff at the end.
Yes,
Oh yeah, yeah.
exactly.
It's like, oh, when Christopher Lloyd actually got up out of the chair and was like, "Don't make a move, or I'll push the button." Like I was like, "What am I watching here?" Like, this is on purpose, right? They're doing this on
Yeah,
purpose. Like,
this is an
for sure.
80-year-old man. Like, just take him out.
and they throw him in the cuffs, and they walk him to the royalty. Oh, We didn't. Yeah, and then she knights Grogu, right?
She
Yes.
knighted
Yeah,
Grogu.
Sir Grogu. Sir Grogu.
Sir Grogu.
From here on out.
Yeah, when
we
she
have
put that sword on his
Sir
shoulders.
Grogu. Yeah. Gosh.
There's a part of me that's like, when Mando says, like, my lord, my lady,
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, like,
What's going on right
Mando, you don't have to say that.
Yeah.
You could just say thanks. Like, let's just be real here.
And how about the explanation about why they don't have weapons on the planet? And then they're like, well, why'd you let us in? We have guns. And, like, you didn't take ours away. And they're like, because it's part of your culture, and we're very inclusive here. Like, that kind of thing. I'm like, what is going on? Like, this is real life right now.
That was interesting. And I'm trying to think, like, the one good thing about this is I do enjoy seeing other planets, other worlds we've never seen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like nobody knew it existed. They even said that, like Bo-Katan and Din Djarin, they're like, what the heck is this place?
Yeah.
So that was cool, I guess.
We completely glossed over the first what the heck moment. And
Okay.
it was when the pirate ship was taken over by the other group of Mandalorians, and there's the love story between the
the
runaway
Mon Calamari.
the runaway prince, who's the calamari, and the other octopus lady.
We should have known something was up then.
Yeah, and like the moment like they're holding each other, like looking into each other's eyes, and like her little tentacles are like feeling his face. I'm like, wait a minute.
We should have known.
It was-
What are we doing? Like,
it was a real weird
Literally,
beginning.
my wife looked over at me and she said, "Really, really?"
And she roasted you.
I was like, "Just let's watch. Just like we're gonna get there." Like I was like, "It's Star Wars."
Did she
it's
watch it
space."
with you?
It
Yeah,
only
oh,
took
yeah,
another
okay.
like 40 minutes to get to anything else.
I know.
that
I
actually
know.
mattered.
Which is we'll dive a little deeper into what mattered in like a couple seconds here. But
Okay,
yeah,
let's do it.
that first part was just like absurd.
Yeah, what mattered? That again, they finished their side mission.
They do.
So the next area of the map opens up, right? And
Yeah.
they go to where the Mandalorian fleet is. Which, by the way,
There's like
There's
a
a lot of 'em.
Yeah, there's like a highlighted spot where you need to go to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like a lot
ton.
of
There's
them.
a fleet.
There's a lot of
They
them.
literally have a imperial like cruiser.
Dude, last time we saw, when we originally saw Axe and Bo-Katan and I forget
Casca Reeves.
Oscar. Okay. When we originally see them, like in season 2, it was just them. Mm-hmm. They got a whole squad. But anyways, there's a challenge.
Ooh, the dark saber.
Yes.
So Bo-Katan says,
Finally.
I'm here to get my fleet back. And he said, they're not yours. Sorry. Like he's like,
Yeah.
she's like, well, I'll challenge you for it. And then like she wins the battle, but they're like, you don't even have
Kind of easily, too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they scuffled for a little bit. They
Little
made
bit.
it dramatic.
But
They
it
made
always
dramatic.
felt
Yeah.
like there was no threat.
But then he's like, you're not even a true leader. You don't have the possession of the dark sword. He does.
Dark
That
saber.
guy- Oh, sorry. What is it? Dark sword?
Dark
Dark
sword,
sword,
bro.
Oh, I don't know what the heck that was. Sorry. I don't.
We'll shut his microphone off, ladies and gentlemen.
Dark saber. My bad. My bad.
Even I don't make that mistake.
It does look like more like a blade, though. It does. But anyway, I digress.
That is
I
funny.
digress.
That is funny how
Yeah.
Din is 100%.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't even know. He really doesn't care about this thing, which has
No.
always been evident.
Exactly.
And he's like, yeah, I got this blade. And it's like, nobody calls it a blade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly.
But he doesn't care.
But so then he gives it up because he lost it in battle, and she saved him.
Wasn't
Yes.
it you, Amato, a
Yes.
few weeks ago who had that theory? And we were
Yes.
like, well, I don't know. And
Yeah, I think it was more about the fact of
we always
why
question
didn't they make anything of it at the time?
Why did he wait until then to give it to her? He should have
Yes.
literally given to her when he didn't want it. Maybe at the campfire. That would have been a great time to give it to her.
Yes. Or like either the campfire or right after or just similar time.
Literally any time before
Like,
then.
it was literally just for the drama of the moment. But I guess part of the reason why was because he was saving it for a moment where
to legitimize her?
yes, so that he could legitimize her
Yeah.
in the moment rather than it just being her showing up with the sword and it being this is mine type of situation.
With the person that she got it from. Like, that's kind of sketchy where you're
Yeah.
like, I won
That's
this
right.
from him.
That's
but
right.
He's right
but he's
here.
standing
Yeah.
right here. And
Which-
we're kind of dating.
Yeah. Oh. Maybe. We'll see.
Dude, it was definitely mom dad vibes again for like the
It
third
was.
or fourth straight episode.
It was.
Yeah.
You're right.
The
But
way they're bickering.
is their bond going to be formed because of Grogu? That kind of thing, right? But I do think it was very interesting that she got the sword, saber. She got the saber the way she did, right? Don't
Yeah.
you dare. Because he didn't really care. He explained it that she saved him, so therefore she's the rightful owner, right?
Yeah.
But then she like assumes leadership over the entire crew just because she's holding the dark saber. And I don't know, I just found it very interesting how the presence changes, like her demeanor changes. Like she honestly goes from somebody who is like
You still got this theory that she's
desperate, right?
You still got this theory that she's got bad motives here, huh?
I'm just not anymore because I'm glad that she got the saber without having to kill Din. Like that's
which we knew that would never happen.
right. But I'm glad that she didn't have to fight him truly to get
Yeah.
it. Like she got it because she
didn't do
saved
anything
him.
nefarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But I did think it was funny that her demeanor changed. Like you could feel it as a fan, as a viewer. Like you could sense that overall leadership was like taking over when she had possession of it.
I think it was just like one of those moments where she just finally was able to step into the role that she had all this pressure to finally get to.
Like she felt like she should have been in that role.
She should have been in that role. I think she feels like she should have been in that role for like 10 years. like a long time. And I feel like she finally, everything finally aligned itself to where she was in the right place. She had the Mandalorians had been able to build up a fleet for her. She had this other set of Mandalorians who were kind of backing her as well. She has her boo thing. She's
got an adopted kid now.
Oh, I know, right?
Stepchild.
She finally was able to get the Darksaber legitimately in the eyes of the Mandalorian culture.
Yeah.
I think all these things finally fell into place, and I think she's on top of that. I think she believes the myth of herself in a way right now because even with her seeing the mythosaur is like she's feeling herself right now. Like she's very much into herself.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I found that interesting that Axe, like, he seems like such a dude who doesn't care about tradition or anything. And but even the Darksaber for him,
he holds so much like weight to the Darksaber.
Even him, the way his look, he was when he was like, would this not be hers? And he talking about the Darksaber.
He paused for a moment.
He did, but he's like, and he looks at her, he's like,
yes,
it would. Yeah.
Yes.
And
and I think it's kind of like the King Arthur's sword. I think that's what it is for the Mandalorian culture.
You're right.
Is no matter how you feel, like that is something real.
It means something.
Yes.
yeah, and this is exactly what the armor, is saying. Like she can do this. She can walk both worlds.
Yeah, and so imagine we have the covert that's waiting for her to come back with this with some more Mandalorians, but she's literally going to bring a fleet back.
Yeah.
Mandalore is going to rise again. I feel it. Like I'm ready for this to happen. There's only one thing that can take it down, but we'll get there.
Speaking of Mandalore, I thought it was like when Mando is saying his how he was captured on Mandalore and she came and rescued him. It's like, by the way, he just said he was on Mandalore.
Yeah,
and nobody reacted.
Nobody reacted. Yeah.
Which I get. The focus is totally on the Darksaber. But wait, hold on. Did you just say you were on Mandalore?
Yeah.
I was waiting for somebody to be like,
right.
Like that would have been you know what that would have been? That would have been like a Marvel type beat to end an episode.
Yeah.
Someone's like, did you say Mandalore? And then
credits.
Credits.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that like they probably didn't react because legitimately nobody in that fleet ever set foot on Mandalore. Like that's probably why they didn't react that way.
Yeah. So how long was Mandalore attacked or destroyed? From this moment?
Bo-Katan says it feels like ages ago, but I mean, I guess it was only like what 20, 30 years ago. I mean,
something like that.
Something along those lines.
It's nothing. It's somewhere. It's okay. So you just think about it this way: she was probably in her early 20s, and it probably was destroyed maybe a couple of years after that. So it couldn't have been any more than like 15 or 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So actually, I mean, a lot of the people probably have.
Yeah.
But they were also very young.
I mean, a lot of the people were on different moons. I mean, I don't know. I feel like the group of people that she ran with didn't live on Mandalore. I feel like I don't know.
I mean, it's possible.
Because the ones that were on Mandalore were the coverts. I feel like they were more like in it. Like this is the way, and then
no, the moons were where the covert was because you remember they were kind of pushed off.
The zealots.
Yes,
they were
the zealots were on the moon.
Okay,
extremists.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so maybe.
Okay. Well, any thoughts, theories,
So
speculation?
theories are Thrawn is going to come and wreck stuff for these Mandalorians. I feel like I'm basing this on the fact that Ahsoka's right around the corner. We got to kind of build a bridge to
Yeah.
the Ahsoka series, and conveniently, when we record this podcast, the Ahsoka trailer drops, and we see the presence of Thrawn. So I feel like in the next 2 episodes, we are going to get a visual of Thrawn. We are going to get a visual of Ahsoka. We're going to get a visual of Ezra. We're going to get a visual of Sabine. Like, this is all going to happen in the next 2 episodes. And with that being said, it's going to be, because we still don't know who blew up the castle, right? Like, that's still left in the ethos somewhere where nobody's addressing it, right?
Or who essentially got what's his face? The guy out of the ship. Man, sorry guys. I'm tired.
Who got taught?
Who's
Moff
the bad
Gideon.
guy? Yes,
Moff
thank you.
Gideon. Oh,
Not bad
yeah.
guy.
So, yeah. And it looked like it was Imperial stuff that happened to blow up the castle. So Thrawn, I feel like, is the only one, since he's a Grand Admiral, like, that could manage a fleet like that. So
Yeah.
I feel like we're going to get that kind of thing. And he may have a chance to wipe out a majority of the Mandalorians again, and they're going to have to overcome that. So
Yeah, I think there's a distinct possibility that the whole idea of them, Grief Karga, giving the land to the Mandalorian culture.
they sound like they're ready to go back to Mandalore and take Mandalore over as a planet, right? Doesn't that sound like?
But I think they're going to use that as like a jumping off point. Is how I kind of feel it is.
Like a
I
trade
thi-
hub or
Yeah,
something
like
like
I
that?
think it's going to be a place where they come to, and I think with that being put out into the universe, that's going to be a red flag, and Thrawn's going to be like, oh, they're Mandalorians all grouped together. That sounds like a place I want to destroy.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that, he was very much into the dark saber, and he knows a lot about. One of the coolest things, and you have not met this yet, but Thrawn is very much about getting to know his enemy. So he knows a lot about.
Very much a strategist,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
he knows a lot about Mandalorians. He knows a lot about anyone that he is getting into, and he will poke and prod at their weaknesses to get them to do anything. So, and he fought against a lot of Mandalorians in his time.
Sure did.
So, I think he could definitely that could be a way of him. It almost creating a point for him to look for, to be able to destroy. So it's in a way, although it's supposed to be a positive thing of like the rebirth of the Mandalorian culture on Navarro, it's actually going to be a negative because it is putting a huge like target on their back.
They're in the light now.
Yes.
And that's not good for certain people watching. So
Yes.
Puts them at risk.
Yeah, exactly. So good times ahead. These next 2 episodes, they better be minimum 45 minutes, and they need to be straight craziness.
Don't get your hopes up.
I
Well, for the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they will.
they'll still be crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, I
they're gonna
agree.
be crazy.
I agree.
So good.
By the way, okay, so when they're talking about the droids and how they were made by humans, you remember that?
Yeah.
Pardon my ignorance. Is the word human used in the Star Wars world?
I don't think in any of the movies it's used. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't remember it really referring to anything specifically.
But they never really truly have full-on conversations with any of the droids until I feel like this moment.
Well, yeah, but just like the idea of like
A race of or a species of humans.
Yeah, like all the like what we know as humans, like clearly they're humans, but
Right.
I feel like I've never recognized Star Wars acknowledged oh yeah, these are humans.
Right.
Until this episode. I could be totally wrong. Leave a comment if I'm totally wrong, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
So-
Oh yeah.
Side note, we need to ask, somebody, maybe Markham knows.
I got a guy I can ask. I got a
Okay,
guy.
yeah.
No.
All right, let's
Okay.
do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for this episode. It was interesting. It was fun at times, a little weird, but the end seemed very significant. So, big shout out to everyone who stuck around and listened to this podcast. We want to thank you so much and ask you to subscribe wherever you were listening. Hit the subscribe button; that helps. And leave a review, leave a comment. Share this with your friends and follow us on social media at Royal Geek Pod. Coming back next week, we'll be reviewing the penultimate episode of Mandalorian Season 3. And with all that in mind, for my good friends Sandy and Shamato, this is T-Roll saying thank you so much for listening to the Royal Geek Podcast. We will see you next time, you peasants.